Hey, Orange One here. So in this video, I'm gonna go over where and how to bounty hunt some of the larger bounties in the game, as well as why you might want to do that. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the where you're gonna be finding bounties, and a lot of people think that you'll find them in the bar. You might overhear a conversation about people talking about a bounty or like a important minor faction, because essentially all of the major factions want to get bounties on what they see as like terrorist groups or people in their territories that aren't paying them taxes. And so basically you're going to be going after a minor faction if you're going to be doing some bounty hunting, and you'll either hear something about that or you can go up to the bartender and they will give you some general hints of where to look for some of these bounty hunters. So for example, this guy right here is somewhere in the forbidden zone with his group of bandits, so it'll tell you where in general to look. And I know it's making this sound like I'm spending money, but I'm not if you look at my money down in the lower right hand corner. So now I've got all these little cool little texts that'll tell you where in general to look for these guys. So if that you don't want any spoilers, you can do that, but I'm going to show you some locations to kind of demonstrate how to go about doing this bounty hunting. So also I'm going to go to Simion and show you where his is in just a minute, but as you can see, it doesn't tell you anything about where in the desert he is, so these can be really general and not give you a lot of useful information. But yeah, you can see that the general idea of what these bounties look like, and they've got some pretty decent rewards. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to near one of these bases. I'm just gonna load up a save, so give me a second. Alright, so I'm at a minor faction base right here. Sometimes they show up on the map as just like a little X like this, so you have to investigate. They kind of look like the animal dens, but if you hover over them, it'll tell you what faction is there, the number of them that are living there, and how many of them are roaming. And so you can see that there's one group roaming. I personally like to go after the ones that are roaming, just because it's kind of like a renewable resource. If you take out everyone at this camp, and just the leader, then you're not going to get any more wandering spawns. But if you do take them out, you can get a good amount of cash. So if I look at these guys right here, these Sand Ninjas, this first one, the Oni, he's worth 20 grand, which is pretty good. It's not as good as those other bounties we were looking at earlier, but I want to show you that if you nice. If you go in here, there's other people with other bounties on them, so that's another 4K right there. And I think there might be another person with another bounty on them as well. Yeah, another 4K there. Not to mention there'll be some good items in here as well. So bounty hunting, you get some good stuff from just the items. If I was trying to be efficient about this though, what I would do is I would just go back here, sneak, and try and knock this guy out. They're about to start attacking me though. Oh, also one thing I forgot to talk about is if you want to be doing this, if you're trying to be an assassin doing this, it's nice to have some good gear, because it'll up your chances considerably of being able to do this successfully. Oop, that did not work. Alright, so I loaded up a save because honestly I wouldn't just run up to these guys like I was, or do something like that. I actually like snuck around the back here, got close to them. So he's now knocked out. I can pick him up and run him into a police station. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. I'm just gonna run him over to Stout's gonna be our closest one. So I'm just gonna go do that. Just gonna make a little cut here because it's gonna take a minute. Alright, so we're in Stout, and if I go to the police station, which I think is, it's not that building. Usually it's these big circular buildings, the police station, so where are you? There it is. So that's the police headquarters, so we can go ahead and drop this bounty off here. It's 20 grand, it's definitely not a huge bounty. To get someone like the Sand Ninjas, you're going to need a decent squad, but it's not going to be as much as, like, say for like the Bugmaster or someone who's worth a lot more. So in general, you should do your research on who you're going after if you want your party to be able to fight them. I recommend doing an assassination, but some people might consider that be a little bit cheesy. So for like the Sand Ninjas, I would bring a squad that's maybe like 8 or so people with stats in the 30s, so that you're similar in strength to the Sand Ninjas. But yeah, it's a good way of getting some good items too if you fight your way through. So I wanted to show you another outpost, and it's kind of cool what you can do at these outposts. And that first one was interesting, but some of these minor factions give you some more interesting choices that you can make about joining them instead of joining up with the major faction. So if you're not aligned with the major faction, you can join up with them. So for example, right here, I'm at, I think it's Fort Simion is what it's called. This outpost right here. I haven't actually discovered it yet in this save. The orange one's right outside of it. So if I come in here, these are outlaw farmers, which are usually hostile to you, but because I'm in their base, they're not hostile to me, because I haven't attacked them to the point where our faction relations aren't just in the gutter. So if I look at these guys, these are the, not the starving bandits, these are the outlaw farmers. And they actually, are they the outlaw farmers? No, hold on. Rebel Farmers, that's their faction group. So they don't hate me, they don't love me, but you can see there's a couple of them who actually already have small bounties on them. A lot of them aren't worth a lot. But what's interesting is if you go into the building over here, you'll meet some special NPCs. And these guys are worth a little bit more. That captain, but who's really interesting is Boss Simion. He's one of the named NPCs, and he's in charge of a minor faction. So he's worth quite a bit to the United Cities. But you can also talk to him. And I'll let you read through the dialogue. He's kind of a funny dude. In my mind, I imagine he's like a pirate. So if you say sword up, obviously he's gonna attack you. But if you say, actually I want to join you, he says go attack a noble or something and survive the wrath. So you can go and make the major faction mad, and then these guys will be aligned with you. And there's similar things in other parts of the map. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's some factions where all you need to do is talk to them and you'll be friendly with them. But you could also do the sneaky thing and knock this dude out. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do it right now because he's looking straight at me. But you could knock this guy out and bring him back for 20k, which is not half bad. But I just want to re-emphasize, these are two of the smaller large bounties. You can get like 60, 80, 100k even for some of the bounties in this game, but you're not going to be able to do that unless you've got a really powerful squad. Like, I would recommend starting out with these small time bounties of like 20k if you've got a decent sized group. Going much larger than that, you're gonna have a hard time. But there are tons of people here with bounties that are worth a decent amount. So you could clear it out heal some of them up with who have bounties on them, and then put them in the cages, and then come back for them. And that would be a good source of income in the early mid game. Because as you can see, I mean, there's at least, I mean, Boss Simon's worth 20, but there's at least 10k worth more in bounties here alone. Not to mention, they probably have some weapons that are worth a decent amount as well. So yeah, that's my tutorial on bounty hunting. Thank you for joining me. This has been Orange One.